Okay, this tutorial video is going to help you a little bit with rearranging elements that you already have on your timeline and show you how to select things in a few different ways. So the first thing is imagining that I want this theater clip at the beginning. What you want to do is first set it up so that you can see more than one of your video tracks. And you have to do just sort of a little swap around here. So I'm going to pull this up. You get an extra video track here. And then I'm going to move this over and put everything back in place. This is probably the simple way to put all this stuff together. Now you can see that I've got to do a little bit of rendering here as well before I play this because the clips originally needed rendering. So things that didn't move so much have this blue line and don't need rendering. Now let's take a look at some different ways to select tracks that you want to move around. The one menu that I really like is the selection menu here. So if I open this up, get a couple different tools. The select track forward, select track backwards, select track tool, and select all tracks forward and select all backwards. So let's take a look at how these select in different ways. So with the track forward, what this will do is it'll let you pick the clip that you're clicking on as well as the ones after it. So I click and it takes this one and anything that's after it on the timeline. Similarly, with the select backwards, it does the opposite. With the select entire track, it selects everything on one line, or I can click on the audio down here and it'll select everything. Same thing up here. Now this one's a little more useful if you have audio that you want to move along with your tracks, is the select all tracks forward. So I'm going to go to the Labor Day here, click, and you can see that it has Labor Day 1 and 2 and also all of the audio tracks that are underneath it. So even though Riverwalk goes all the way to the beginning, because it's under Labor Day, it gets selected as well. Same thing here, so if I go backwards, it will select every track from that point and earlier. So that's pretty useful. This menu I rarely use. It's the edit selection menu. This one here allows you to sort of click and drag a box around an area and get the edit points only. So here's an example of me using that. I'm going to take a look at my audio tracks a little bit and scroll up. So when I click and drag, what it's going to do is it's going to not select the clips, but the parts at the end of the clip, so that I could use the pointer and then drag that forward, backwards. And that's really all that one does. There are a few instances where, I mean, you would use more than one at the same time. I'm using the nudge key on the keyboard, which is the square bracket, to kind of push them all over simultaneously here, but that's pretty useless. The other one here is the a group selection tool, which will allow you to click and drag to select several different clips, just like that. And then the last one is kind of useful, the range selection tool. So what I'll do here is I'm going to select part of this Labor Day clip in the middle that I want to move to the beginning. So what you can do is click and drag. And in the top right in your sequence menu, you can actually see what is at the beginning of this section and what is at the end. So if I close that, I can delete what's there, or actually shift delete to ripple that backwards. And that's kind of helpful. So through these menus, there's a few different ways to select your tracks, but again, you will have to lift them up and move them order if you want to rearrange the order of these on the timeline.